Hey guys, I'm Steff, and welcome to my beauty stash. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you all so much for watching another one of my videos. You know the drill. Before we begin, make sure you click on that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you never miss one of my video uploads. Today we are doing the eyeshadow palette tag, or the eyeshadow palette challenge. This is a tag video that started here on YouTube, and I believe Samantha March and Allie Glines were the ones who created this tag, this eyeshadow palette challenge, and I absolutely love that. They are YouTubers that I do watch. I love to see their reviews, their opinions on different products, and actually I got this idea not from either one of them, but from Tracy at Little Makeup Channel. So definitely, if you haven't checked out Tracy's videos, you want to head over there to her channel. I will leave it linked in the description box down below. She does amazing product reviews. She has such a calming voice. I love to hear her thoughts and opinions on all of the latest makeup releases. I also love to see her cat Whiskey. So cute. A big shout out to Tracy at Little Makeup Channel, and thank you so much for doing this tag video and giving me this great idea. So let's start with this eyeshadow palette tag challenge. So the first category is newest eyeshadow palette, and for me, that is the ABH Norvina Volume 4 Pro Pigment Palette. I recently reviewed this gorgeous eyeshadow palette on my channel. I will be sure to have that linked up above in case you haven't checked it out. This palette is the fourth installment in Norvina's volume of Pro Pigment Palettes. This one, like the others, does not disappoint. I loved working with this palette. I've been using it the last few days just to create different looks with it, and it's giving me no problems whatsoever. Definitely, if you're a girly girl, a Barbie girl at heart, this is definitely one you want to add to your collection. The next category is oldest eyeshadow palette, and right away I knew this was going to have to be one of my Urban Decay eyeshadow palettes. I've been a fan, a lover, a user of Urban Decay for so many years. It's really one of the first brands that really got me interested and loving the fun of makeup. So in looking through my collection and looking through my stash, the Urban Decay Vice 2 palette turns out to be the oldest in my collection. This is what the palette looks like. You'll see it's predominantly shimmer shades in here, but you do get a few matte shades. I just love Urban Decay eyeshadows. I think that they tell so many wonderful color stories, and I love color, as you can definitely see from today's look. I will dip into this palette every now and then, but I probably shouldn't because it's at least 5 years old. Next on the list is your most expensive eyeshadow palette. Now, I don't own any eyeshadow palettes that are over $100. I don't have any of the full-size Natasha Denona. I don't have any full-size Pat McGrath. I'm not there yet. I can't fathom spending that much on an eyeshadow palette, even with the 20% off coupon that comes around every now and then at Sephora. It's still just a lot of money and not really in my budget just yet, just because I'm trying so much makeup, right? But in looking at my collection, I found that my most expensive palette is a $75 eyeshadow palette, and this is from MAC. This is the MAC by Jeremy Scott Lo-Fi eyeshadow palette, and as you can see, it is in the shape of a boombox, and that is the reason why I bought it. I bought this more for nostalgia. I bought this more to display it on my vanity, to display it in my room, and that's exactly what I do. You can see it's a little bit dusty. I'm not a big duster, but I was left a little disappointed with this palette. While it's pretty to look at on the outside, and the shades themselves are pretty shades, they're colorful shades, that's what I like. The performance of the shadows was just not quite there. It turned out to be a really powdery palette that didn't really pack a punch as far as pigmentation goes. So this mainly just sits on display here in my beauty room, reminding me of the days when I had a boombox just like this sitting on my bedroom shelf. Next on the list is your most affordable eyeshadow palette, and for me, I do have eyeshadow palettes that cost less than the one I'm going to show you right now, but as it turns out, the total of this eyeshadow palette turns out to be 24 cents per shadow, and there are 32 shadows in this palette. And what I'm referring to is the Wet n Wild Color Icon 32 pan eyeshadow palette. Now it says $15 here. I didn't pay that. I got it for half off. I got it for $7.50, and I got it directly from the Wet n Wild website. And these are the shades that you do get in the palette. I bought this to replace the 8-pan eyeshadow palettes that I have from Wet n Wild. So I wanted to update those shades, and this was the perfect fit. Definitely can't go wrong with this palette. The next category is your everyday eyeshadow palette. This is an eyeshadow palette that I keep within arm's reach right here on my vanity, and this is one that I take with me on every trip I go on. Doesn't matter if it's an overnight trip or a quick beach getaway weekend. The Natasha Denona Mini Nude Eyeshadow Palette. This little palette has traveled the world with me, and with good reason. You have very wearable shades, very neutral shades. This palette can definitely take you from day to night. You have everything you need in one tiny little palette. Next is most colorful eyeshadow palette, and I happen to be wearing that palette right now. This is the Jawbreaker palette from Jeffree Star Cosmetics. As you can see, this is totally that perfect rainbow palette. You have some bold, bright shades, as well as some muted pastel shades. You have some fun pops of shimmer as well. I love a beautiful, colorful palette. When this palette released last summer, I ordered it immediately, and this is actually one of my very first palette tutorials that I did on my YouTube channel, and I'll definitely have that linked up above in case you want to check it out. Hopefully you can tell I've come a long way from then. I definitely look very different from last year, but I just love working with this palette. Jeffree Star always knocks it out of the park with his eyeshadow formulation. Next on the list is your smallest eyeshadow palette, and for me that was a toss-up between the new e.l.f. bite-size eyeshadow palette and these Wet n Wild ones that I'm about to show you. These are the Wet n Wild eyeshadow trios. This is from the Crystal collection that I believe came out last year, probably exactly a year ago. There were 4 different trios that were released in that collection, and it was a box set, and I love when Wet n Wild does those box set collections. And now that I think of it, they haven't done one in a while, so I'm hoping we have something good coming up for summer from Wet n Wild. But these are really tiny. This one is in the shade Clear Quartz. This one is in the shade Rose Quartz. This is in the shade Jade. And this is in the shade Amethyst. I believe you can still find these on the Target and Wet n Wild website, and it's in the box collection. So definitely something that you might want to consider. I loved these eyeshadow palettes, and I love the highlighter that was included in the box set. So definitely something that you might want to check out. Now from smallest, we jump to biggest, your biggest eyeshadow palette. And for me, it has to be the Morphe Dare to Create 39A eyeshadow palette. This is huge. This is what the inside of this gorgeous palette looks like. You get a lot of neutral shades in here, but you also have those fun pops of color. This palette can definitely conquer any look that you want to create. Next is the eyeshadow palette that gives you the nicest memories. And for me, that dates back to the summer of 2018 when I picked up my very first Violet Voss eyeshadow palette, and this is the Flamingo eyeshadow palette. Now, I love flamingos. I have flamingos here in my beauty room. I have them outside in my garden, obviously not real ones, fake flamingos. But in the summer of 2018, I took a trip to Aruba, and I was so excited to go. I had been seeing all the pictures about how there were flamingos, and it made it seem like there were flamingos everywhere. I thought that as soon as I arrived, a flamingo was gonna greet me right off the plane. And boy, was I wrong. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Aruba, there are not as many flamingos as those pictures make it out to be. In fact, there are only 8 exactly 8 flamingos there in Aruba, and they're on Renaissance Island. So while I was a little disappointed with that, I still got plenty of pictures with the 8 flamingos that were there, and I did it while wearing this gorgeous palette. This is also a colorful palette, and this is what the inside of it looks like. This is a very summer palette, your spring and summer go-to palette. I love dipping into this palette, especially this time of year. This just reminds me of the beautiful trip I took to Aruba and just having fun in the sun at the beach. Next category is an eyeshadow palette that's definitely worth the hype. And for me, That is the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Blood Sugar Eyeshadow Palette. First off, the packaging on this is absolutely stunning. I love these clasps right here. They make it look like a doctor's case, which is pretty much the theme for the palette. And this is what the gorgeous Blood Sugar palette looks like. This is what I think really put Jeffree Star on the map, Jeffree Star Cosmetics. This was a huge launch for him, for his brand. This eyeshadow palette performs so well. Don't just look at it as a red or pink eyeshadow palette. You can definitely create a lot of neutral looks with it. The quality, guys, of the eyeshadow, when you put it on your eyelid, it is just so pigmented, and it stays like that, guys, all day long. If you're looking to try out a Jeffree Star Cosmetics eyeshadow palette, I would definitely recommend starting with Blood Sugar. The next category is an eyeshadow palette that's not worth the hype, and I've talked about this on my channel before. I did a video talking about makeup that I just don't get, like everybody seems to love, but I just for some reason don't love it. And unfortunately for me, this is an expensive eyeshadow palette. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Exaggerize Bigger Brighter Eyes filter, and let me show you what this one looks like. This is the eyeshadow palette that was used at, I believe, what was the last Victoria's Secret fashion show that aired on television. This got so much hype around it. All the beautiful videos on the Charlotte Tilbury Instagram page with her just gliding the shimmer shades over the eyes. They just look so beautiful. They look so flawless. I mean, Charlotte, with that accent of hers, she can sell just about anything. And she did, because I bought this palette and I was really underwhelmed with it. I have these shades already in my collection. I probably have them in a Morphe, a ColourPop palette that costs half of what this eyeshadow palette costs. So while I do enjoy wearing Charlotte Tilbury products, I'm actually wearing the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Filter Foundation, as well as the Hollywood Contour one on my face right now. This one, I just didn't get. I really didn't understand the hype with it. Next category is your favorite eyeshadow palette from your favorite makeup brand. And for me, I had to choose Urban Decay. And surprise, surprise, one of my most favorite eyeshadow palettes from Urban Decay is a neutral eyeshadow palette, and that is the Naked Honey eyeshadow palette. I was not going to purchase this eyeshadow palette when it came out. I was like, it's just a boring, neutral gold tone eyeshadow palette. I definitely had all these colors somewhere within my collection, but I decided to go ahead and buy it. I think they were showing this on QVC one afternoon, and I just got so mesmerized by the beautiful looks they were creating that I thought, you know what? They have it on Easy Pay. I'll go ahead and buy it. It's worth the $8, $9 a month to get it. And I got it, and I absolutely loved it. Gorgeous shades, an outstanding formula, very easy to work with, very easy to wear. I am a little shocked that this is my favorite, but it was totally worth the buy. I am so glad that I decided to pick it up. The last category is your most used eyeshadow palette, and I had a lot of trouble with this one because I don't have a most used eyeshadow palette. I use different eyeshadow palettes just about every single day. Now, while I do use the Natasha Denona Mini Nude palette, I didn't want to mention that again in this video. So another palette that I have on my vanity over here where I typically get ready for the day is from my favorite brand. This is Urban Decay, and this is the Urban Decay by Kristen Leanne eyeshadow palette. This is the Daydream eyeshadow palette. I don't think this is still available. This is an old collaboration, but this is what the palette looks like. It's a very neutral, wearable, everyday eyeshadow palette, and I grab this palette whenever I need a quick shade to pop in my crease, or I need a dark brown to kind of darken up the outer V and my crease area. For me, this is just a really easy eyeshadow palette to wear. This palette has everything for me. Unfortunately, I don't think it's available for purchase anymore. You might be able to find this maybe floating around at Ross or TJ Maxx, but on like the Sephora or Ulta websites, this is not going to be available. So guys, that completes the eyeshadow tag video, the eyeshadow palette challenge. I think this was a really cool challenge, and I loved going back and looking through my eyeshadow palette collection because I love to collect eyeshadow palettes, and it was just good to rediscover some that I hadn't used in a while. So what did you all think of the eyeshadow palettes that I showed you guys? Did I pick some of your favorites? Did I leave anything out? Definitely leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought. If you enjoyed watching my video, thumbs up, guys. That helps me out so much. You wouldn't believe how much that helps me out. I want to say a big welcome to all of my new subscribers. Thank you all so much for being here and watching my videos. I hope you're enjoying the content that's here on my channel, and I have a lot more coming in the near future. You guys have a great day or night wherever it is you all are at. Stay hydrated, guys. Drink your water, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.